All right, we got another bird game. Perfect. 25-37. We're getting up there. All right, we'll play bishop b5. This is weird. g6. Okay, so here I think in this variation, I recommend knight c3 first. There's some like weird thing that you want to play with knight a4 first. Or no, we're going to castle first. We're going to castle, they're going to play knight f6, and then we're going to play knight a4. For whatever reason, just the chop is pretty much inevitable here, and so because of that, our knight c3 move is okay. If you can't remember when exactly to do this, I would recommend just don't go for it, because if you could play b3 and bishop b2 in those positions, you'll also be completely fine. Or actually, wait, what am I saying? No, I mean, just if you go for the chop and then play knight c3, knight a4, that would also be fine. There's just some slight difference. I can't remember it exactly, but I'm certain it exists. There. All right, we could just play knight a4. Am I missing anything? Maybe knight e4 is better. Actually, I think knight e4 is better because knight a4, queen a5, takes. If I play b3 there, he's playing takes and he's hitting my rook, which is really annoying. I'm a little confused, honestly. In that position, if we go back, like knight a4, queen a5, I could play c4. Yeah, actually, I'm going to go for that. I don't think he has to... I don't think his queen a5 is as powerful as it looks just yet. Not a problem. All right, bro plays queen a5. We're playing c4. It's time to go. If he takes, I have time to take and get everything out. I'm a little bit concerned about the light scored weaknesses in that type of position, but he's ultimately wasting a lot of time. I don't think I could ever be worse. I could have also played queen e2, come to think of it. Yeah, bizarre stuff, honestly. Queen e2, a6, takes, and I think I could get away with queen c4 there. Okay, a6. Am I hallucinating, though? Because this is a dream position. All right, knight e5 looks good. Let's just start attacking this pawn. Yeah, he hasn't compromised my knight security at all. Knight e5 looks fantastic, just aiming to take the pawn. I could probably play e4 at some point. What I wanted to avoid, though, was I didn't want to allow e4, d3 when my pawns get a little jammed up. There's some weaknesses there. I think, well, actually, that position should just be winning for me because d3 pawn is ultimately going to be weak. It might take me a while, but if I just play something like knight e1, rook f3, that should be enough. Here? Okay, knight h6. Bro's going for that. I would assume he's just losing here, if I'm being honest, because I'm going to play b3, we're going to play bishop a3, and I'm going to start picking up the pawns. It's like going apple picking in Nantucket. Apples are falling everywhere. It's time to go. We got to get things moving. His only chance here is to play something like knight g4 and hope for queen f3 and just try to get this pawn with knight e5, but I think if knight g4, bishop a3, he takes on e5, I take on c5, he takes on e3. Like, even in those positions where he's not down any material yet, those just look so... Those look very precarious. I'm thinking about it. Maybe knight g4, the best move might be bishop b2, because takes... Yeah, I'm not sure, honestly. Very weird stuff. I don't believe... Knight g4 looks like it's posing a lot of counterplay, but I don't believe that that could be equal for him. He's just way too behind in development here, and his queen is really misplaced. Alright, takes. Interesting. Just take back. Pawns look ugly, but his queen looks uglier. And, okay, so look at this. h3, knight e5. Can I just play bishop b2 there? Knight is pinned. He plays f6, I take, and his king is going to be stuck in the center. Yeah, that looks the best. Let's go for that. All right. This is getting very dangerous. We could play queen e1, queen g3, or queen e1, queen c3. Rook f7 is a crazy idea that I like, but it doesn't really work yet. Could play knight takes c5. I don't really see the point, though. Yeah, let's play queen e1, queen g3. This is going to be a bizarre position, honestly. Queen e1, queen g3, he could play f6. He's not losing just yet, but I'm going to take. He'll take back with his queen. I take, he takes. I trade rooks. I take on c5. I think I have a huge advantage there in the endgame because he still has a lot of weak pawns. His pawns are strewn about the board. I was trying to think of a metaphor. I can't think of a metaphor. All right, hitting these two. This is just over. Completely over. Bro is losing on the spot. Takes. I take. He goes here, and I can even just throw in this check to win the queen. Oh, no, 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 sorry. I'll take here. He goes king d6 and then queen d4. That's mate. Oh, okay. I was yawning. I was stretching. All right, wait. No new game. We gotta go to the game review. I gotta remember that there's an analysis that people are watching these for. All right, so f4, got the classic stuff. Okay, d4, weird stuff. Knight a4. That's a good move. I was thinking maybe knight e4 could also be good, but I didn't like the idea of queen d5. Is queen d5 a problem? Apparently queen d5 isn't a problem. I'm gonna play d3 and I can eventually play c4 or e4. Yeah, or bishop c4 in some cases. Yeah, g6 is a little weird. Knight c3 is the best move, I remember that correctly. But there's what was the point? There's some weird thing like here in this position, if you play if you let them play knight f6, knight c3, bishop g7, knight a4, they have time for knight d7. It's to avoid this type of thing. If they get knight d7, then they're actually doing okay. This is a really rare thing that only happens once in a blue moon, so if you don't understand it fully or if you don't think it's up to the capacity of your memory, you don't need to learn this. You could definitely take on c6 here and get completely fine positions, even if you technically allow your opponent into that. Because they would also need to be a grandmaster to see that as well. So knight c3, bishop g7, castles, d4. And yeah, actually, sorry, just to finish my point. So the idea here is that after knight f6, we could play knight a4 immediately. Can we play knight a4 immediately? I thought that was the idea. Okay, apparently I need to go look at my course again. No, we could play d3 now. Yeah, we change our mind. We change our mind to play d3 and e4. Y'all see? Even I'm forgetting. Everyone's forgetting. But okay, d4, knight a4, queen a5. I played c4. That's a mistake. I was supposed to take. What am I supposed to do here? b3? Takes, and then what? Bishop b2? Knight e5. Interesting. Yeah, I just didn't see that move. I thought I was going to be down a pawn here. And of course, like, if he's taking here, if he's diverting his d pawn and he's left with these awful chopped pawns, you're going to have huge compensation, but normally it should just even out. Like, rook b1, that's actually crazy. Look at that. Even here, I'm much better. Because, I mean, c5 is eventually going to be lost, and beyond that, we have ideas of queen e1 and bishop a5. Queen e1 looks like a really nice move here. Threatening bishop c3, threatening bishop a5. Dude is in a lot of trouble. We're completely dominating the dark squares here. All right, I played c4. Man played a6. Takes. Yeah, c4 has to be a big or sorry, a6 has to be a big mistake. What is he supposed to play? He's supposed to take. Yeah, this is what I was worried about. And then I was going to take with the knight. And structurally, it looks ugly, but he's wasted a lot of time with his queen. I could also take here. I didn't like these positions, though, because I didn't like how good he has a control of the light squares, though. Like, look at this. He could just park his bishop on d3. I don't want to deal with this. Computer is saying this is good for me. I don't know what it's talking about. I do not want to deal with this. All right, actually, looking at what the computer says, it makes a lot of sense. We would trade queens. We're going to park a knight on c5. He's not going to have this bishop here forever. In the long term, because we are ahead in development, we're actually going to take here, render their pawn over here, and then just collect the pawn with a4 and rook a3. All right, this actually makes complete sense here. So c4, a6, takes, knight e5, takes, knight h6, b3, d takes e, knight g4. Yeah, this is banana stuff. H3 is a mistake, though. Yeah, what was I thinking about here? Let's look at this. So knight g4, this is what I was worried about. I didn't see what I was going to do because I saw this position and I didn't really see how much better I was. Apparently even here I'm much better. We just played d4. I didn't like bishop g4 threatening e2. But at the end of the day, we're just way too ahead in development here. Like queen c2, e2, rook e1. My rook looks a little passive here, but just he's playing with so few pieces in this position. Knight d7, we play queen e4, we boot the queen out. Or we boot the bishop out and we're going to win the e2 pawn. Completely winning position. It should be stated that especially once I win this pawn, right? Like, I'm gonna be winning on the queen side here. I'm gonna have like a 3-on-2, or maybe in some cases 4-on-2 majority. So long term, I'm always gonna be winning on the queen side if I can just avoid the tactics. All right, so b3 takes, knight g4, h3 takes, bishop b2. Yeah, and this is getting very bad. This is getting extremely bad. Queen c7, queen e1. He has to try castles here. There's still a massive crossfire here, though. Dude has to try f6, and this is what I was talking about. We would just take, take, and go for the endgame. This should be completely winning, honestly. What would be the way to win here? We could just keep moving our knight around to attack these pawns. Like, it would be a good idea to force this pawn onto e4 so that then the bishop would be even more blocked. Like, I like the idea of something like this, pushing them to e4, bringing the knight back. Computer apparently is saying that I'm missing some moments, but okay, yeah, I could have played knight e5 with a tactic, but regardless, my knight's in the treehouse. I have an extra pawn on the queen side. He always has some weaknesses here, and I have very simple ideas. I could just park my rook on d8. If he tries to stop that by playing bishop f5, I could just push his bishop back with g4. I also have ideas of just playing rook d4 to collect the e4 pawn. And yeah, his structure is so bad with these two doubled pawns here. I'm essentially playing up a pawn on the queen side. I would assume even... Could we actually see that? I would assume even a rook endgame would be winning. It wouldn't be that simple. Okay, rook endgame is not winning yet, but it is better. I would assume in a lot of positions the rook endgame is winning. Definitely the rook endgame is winning if you're able to win this pawn here. All right. Oh, I wanted to discuss this position. Yeah, what if he doesn't trade queens, though? Well, then, in this case, we could just play rook f1, and we're going to start attacking him. Something like king g7, we could play queen f3, or knight takes c5. And yeah, he's at a loss for what to do. Bishop f5, I just have e4. I could just push his bishop back. He goes to c8, and we have something like queen f2. Queen is threatening to enter on f7 and f8. Bro's in enormous trouble here. All right, that was a great game. It's time to go. I guess, well, actually, let's look at the end of it. Queen c3. Yeah, and queen c3 is completely over. If he takes here, I just take here. King d7 takes, and this is mate. All right, we're playing this guy. Fellow Brazilian. Okay, d4. Let's play f5. We're going with the Leningrad. Gotta go with the Leningrad. The fabled Leningrad. Has to be the best name ever in chess, the Leningrad. I thought it was a cool name back in the day, even before I found out what the Soviet Union was. To be clear, that came out wrong. I'm not a supporter of the Soviet Union. Not a communist here. This isn't a communist channel. We're not a... What is the term? I can't even remember the term. I had to read a lot of communist literature for history in college. The cool thing about communism, though, is all the weird language that they have. Like, they have revolutionaries, counter-revolutionaries, reactionaries. Yeah, I'm thinking specifically in like the context of China, there was, what was it, like reactionary sentiment or old imperialist dogma. Very interesting stuff. I don't know what's happening here with bishop g5. We're just gonna play c6 and hopefully something will work out here. I think I slipped on a banana peel here. Play queen b6. I don't know what's happening. It's time to go though. Dude, if bro plays knight d2, I'm in trouble because I'm not threatening anything there. I'm gonna play d5 right there. Let's play. I'll play d5. Honestly, this isn't ideal. This is not a good position. Bro definitely got me with the tricks. We could play h6, bishop f4, rook g8, but then he plays h5. If I play e5, does that work? Knight takes, d takes. No, there's nothing there yet. This is bizarre stuff. This is a genuinely bizarre position. We'll play g6 here. Hopefully something comes of this. I'm not optimistic though. What are people doing, man? People are moving furniture around literally night and day in Brazil. It's very bizarre. It just seems like literally every single day, no matter where I am in Brazil, people are always moving stuff or doing construction or sawing something. Construction is like the national pastime here. All right, this is This is genuinely bizarre. This is bizarre stuff. All right, we'll play c4. I don't know if this is going to work. It looks interesting, though. We'll play queen. I want to deter b3. b3 is an annoying move. So I was thinking about playing queen a6, but then that's going to be blocking my a pawn. Let's play queen c6. I'm going to just start throwing the pawn up the board. There. That's a good move. We'll play b6, a6, and b5. Slowly getting the pawns up. All right, I'll play h6 here. Don't ask me what's going on with this. I don't know what's happening in this position. This is just very, very strange. Yeah, we're down a pawn here, but this is very hard for him to play. It's hard for both sides to play. Honestly, it might make sense for me just to play on his time. This is a position where both computers would just start maneuvering here. I have one less pawn, but I lost arguably my worst pawn on the board. Just completely dropped a pawn. So it was time to go. I had to get my king out of the center. I don't make the rules. I guess he's playing for some tactical ideas. Is he going to put the knight on e5? Is he going to sacrifice the pawn? His knight has really terrible options if he doesn't sacrifice the pawn. Like, if he plays knight d2, knight is not going to get out for a very long time. Alright, I'd like to attack this bishop, but how are we going to do it? We could play queen f6, f3, g5. Takes. Bishop c7, then I play queen c6. That looks interesting. Queen f6 could definitely be interesting. Yeah, I'm going to play that. Let's see what happens. How is he going to stop g5? What's his plan going to be? All right, g4. You play queen e6 here? Yeah, let's play queen e6. Queen d1, knight f6, g5, knight h5. This is looking good, because once we get them to play g5, he's just going to have too many weaknesses now. There, but I could just take the pawn here. What is he doing? He's in trouble. All right, this has to be over now. Let's start by taking. We'll check again. I really lucked out with this one. This was a very close one. We'll play g5 here. I want to push the bishop back, and now we're going to transfer the rook over. Dude is in a lot of trouble here. Can he trade queens? All right. He could trade queens if he wants. Not my problem. I'm up a pawn now. I'm living large. Renting the duplex in the city. Okay, here, I don't actually think that's a problem at all. We could take already. I like the idea of h5, h4. What am I doing? What is going on here? What's going on there? People just they like doing construction in their house at all hours. I could take here. The problem with taking is that they just play rook b1 and then they're going to take back with good pressure on b6. Maybe I should push these pawns up the board. Yeah, let's start with that. I'm trying to not calculate at all. He takes. Oh, well, another thing I have is that takes, knight takes. Well, h4, then he's going to play bishop d6, and then I could play rook c8 there. Bro played rook g1. What is bro doing? Okay, we could play b5. We could play b5. His rook is going to get in, though. Yeah, this is tricky business. We could definitely take here, rook b1. Yeah, maybe that's the lesser evil, right? Takes rook b1. He's going to take here, but ultimately all I need to do is cushion this b pawn. It's not going to be much of a problem. Knight takes, so I don't think that's good. If I play h4, bishop d6, he's sort of getting out. Let's double up on f2 first. Rook a2. I really like bishop d1 here. It's a cool move. Skewering. Knight c1. H4, bishop d6. I almost have that. How are we going to do this? Bishop is actually completely safe here at the moment, though. Interestingly enough. Let's play rook c8, just to target this now. Bishop can always park on f3 if I need to. Okay, there. Let's play bishop f3. Okay. Gonna play h4, g4. All right, man. What's going on? What is bro up to? Yeah, we could just play rook f6 and rook c6. This is looking perfect. Man's knight is not correctly placed. If man had his knight on b4 somewhere like e5, it would be different, but how is he going to get this knight in the game? Bishop f8, introducing ideas of bishop b4. This looks like a disaster, honestly. I like the idea of bishop a3 there. Let's play bishop b4 now. This is the perfect time. A takes b6, I take here. Takes, and mate looks unstoppable in that position. There. All right. I could play bishop a3 if I want. We could also, yeah, let's just take here, actually. What am I talking about? Okay, so we could play rook b8. They take on a5. We play rook b1, and we're playing for mate. He plays rook c1. We take. I take on c3. I feel I have to be winning even though they're opposite colored bishops here. And that's actually why I went for this, because his bishop is really bad here, and I should be able to make a passed pawn somehow, sooner or later. Like, already I have a passed pawn, but there should be some way. There should be some way to make a decisive breakthrough if I play it correctly. Oh, whoa, I can't play rook b8. Gotta be careful with that one. Cannot play rook b8. Was about to blunder my rook. Completely forgot about the sniper here. Yeah, it's really fortunate that I made that comment. If I hadn't had to make that comment about the opposite color bishops, I 100% would have dropped the rook there. What is he doing?
It's time to go!